Have you ever picked someone in a soul exchange just to regret it later? Well, keep watching to make sure you don't end up with buyer's remorse in the next round of soul exchange. Greetings, loyal minions. Welcome back to the SciShow, the #1 ranked YouTube channel for people between the ages of 12 and 92 who have no soul. That's right, if you identify as a demon or are an actual demon, I appreciate you. Straight into Soul Exchange Heroes. It's kind of snuck up on us this time. There weren't too many sort of pre-release teasers of who was going to be in there, but the list is out. I hope this is a correct list, otherwise I'll look a bit stupid. But let's take a look at the heroes. First up, we have Jet. The good news is there are some very good heroes in this batch of Soul Exchange. There may not be any absolute game changers, but there's some very, very solid heroes. I'm not going to do a huge deep dive on every hero, just going to discuss their special skill, any applicable passives and family bonuses that may be good, and then give you my opinion on each, and whether I think it's a yay or an A, basically. Keeping in mind that many of these heroes will be usable, it will just come down to your roster as to which one is going to suit you best. So it's not a case of this one or that one, it's just going to be a case of whether I think they're worth choosing, yes or no, and obviously you'll make that choice based on your roster. Jet is from the Magic family, where we're getting a bonus of a 50 or 75, 100% chance to cast plus 5% mana generation stack on a random ally when the hero casts their special skill. Maximum stack size is 10, so that's nice to start with. Double Limit Broken, we get the Aether talent of Attack Up, which gives 20% attack for 6 turns. We have a passive ability of Stack on Special, so when the character casts their special, all enemies get minus 5% mana generation stack. If a special skill is fully charged, then they'll get that twice, so that's up to 10 stacks. So again, you're getting some mana down on the enemy, that's good. And we also have the health recovery on special, so when they cast their special, they have a 50% chance to recover 15% health for all allies. If the special skill is fully charged, the chance is 100%. So great skills there, helps the character all over. Special skill obviously running at magic speed, so we have that very fast hit to start with, and then the second one taking a little bit longer. I do like that mechanic, as if you get a good board, you can get up to that double charge nice and quickly. So on the first charge, we're dealing 290% damage to the target. The target receives 588 poison damage over 3 turns. Caster absorbs 100% of the dealt poison damage as health. And on the second charge, we're dealing 300% damage to all enemies. All enemies receive 730 poison damage over 5 turns. The caster and all their allies absorbs 30% of the dealt poison damage as health. Some very useful passives. I think Jet is worth taking. It would be a bit of a gamble. I think there's a huge difference between the first hit and the second hit. And that may be too big a gamble if you're only getting to use the first. So definitely on defense, these charge heroes aren't fantastic, as you just can't control them and you don't know when they're going to fire. But as an offensive hero, I don't mind taking someone that's a magic skill, because as I said, if you get a good board, you can get them up to that second charge. She is giving some heals. The passives are quite good. But the thing I don't like is how big a difference there is between that first and second hit. So again, if it suits what you need, I would say it's actually decent enough to take, but not one of my main suggestions. Next up in the 10 soul category is Xavier, part of the Super Elemental family. As we know, the Super Elemental family get those annoying little tiles, so the more heroes you have, the more tiles at turn, and the Power Gem deals 20 damage to a random enemy every turn until it's matched, and when it's matched, it deals 10 damage to all enemies. Xavier also gets the Attack Up Aether talent when at Double Limit Broken, so 20% attack for 6 turns, and has the passive of Troop Mastery. Hero's troops deals extra elemental damage against weaker element, so it's 100% extra. Passive skill as a defending character. The hero receives less elemental damage from troops of the stronger element, so the received elemental damage is minus 10%. The special skill is running at average speed, called Cascading Whirlwind, deals 280% damage to the target. If an ally is of holy element, the damage will increase to 290% and it will affect nearby enemies. Allied heroes must be alive for the effect to be activated. If 2 allies are of holy element, the damage will increase to 300% and it will affect all enemies. Allied heroes must be alive for the effect to be activated. Reduces the mana of all enemies by 20%. So in my opinion, due to the fact he's got a very small single hit if there's not 2 other holy allies alive, I just would not take Xavier personally. If you play mono, it's probably a bit less of a risk, but you definitely obviously need him in a 3 stack, but the chances are that if someone else is dead, he's just not going to get the hit. So to me, that's too big a risk to take. I like to know what I'm getting. He does reduce the mana of all enemies by 20%, which is quite good. His passives, etc. are decent, but I just feel there's too much of a risk there of getting a smaller hit when you may need a bigger one. So it's a no for me. Moving on to what's possibly, actually no, it's definitely my pick of the heroes in the 10 soul category, is Blossom of the Construct family. So the Construct core is charged each time the character receives damage for normal attacks or special skills. Being a healer, this has the Repair core, so it activates each time the character's special skill is cast. If it's fully charged, it boosts the health of all allies by 25%. So that's quite a big bonus. We've seen that on heroes like Charlotte's, quite fantastic, and it's scaled by the amount of the charge in the core. So obviously if you're only half charged, you'll heal for 12.5%, etc. If double limit broken, we are getting the regen Aether Talent, where we regenerate 420 health over 6 turns, so that's nice being a healer. Special skill running at average speed, we're recovering 45% health for all allies, dispelling buffs from all enemies, and recovering 70 health per each removed status effect for all allies up to 560 health in total. So in my opinion, the pick of the bunch, just an absolutely fantastic healer. You're recovering 45% health for all allies. So that 45%, being that it's a percentage, that means that when the heroes are getting stronger and stronger and more HP, the healer is going to be getting stronger as well. So it helps us stay relevant. We're dispelling the buffs from all enemies. It's fantastic to dispel buffs with a healer because you no chance of hitting them first or doing damage to yourself and that sort of thing. And we're recovering extra health for each removed status effect. So it's just a bigger heal. You've also got the Repair core, so it's just a fantastic healer. I would say if you are lacking in healers, this would be an absolute no-brainer if you only have the 10 heroes to exchange. Next up, we are moving on to Crocodile Dundee Sobek. I wanted this tough-looking crocodile alligator dude for ages. He's part of the Sun family. Bonus for 1 or 2 heroes of 50 or 75% chance to make a cast of minus 35% accuracy for 2 turns and 196 burn damage over 2 turns on an enemy who deals special skill damage to this character. If the enemy's special skill defeats this character, the chance is 75% or 100%. If double limit broken, we are getting the defense up Aether Power. So at the start of the battle, the hero gets 20% defense. It's always good for staying alive. Being a big hitter, it would be nice if that was some attack, but that's just is what it is. We have the effects on special skill passive, so 60% chance to perform the following actions when they cast a special skill, which is dealing 70% damage to all enemies and all enemies receiving 246 sand damage over 3 turns. So that's a nice little bonus of the possibility of more attack. Special skill is running at average speed and called Jaws of the River. We're dealing 290% damage to all enemies and the attack bypasses defensive buffs. This includes counter attacks. Very straightforward hero, big hitter, hits all. Gets additional damage from passive in most cases. He does bypass the defensive buffs like counter attack, however, doesn't bypass the dodges and those sort of things. So, look, he was a great hero when he first came out. He's a little bit outdated now without the costume. Good time to mention that these heroes in the Soul Exchange will not come with the costume, or don't generally come with the costume. We will wait for the 100% final word on that once they're released in game. But yeah, probably a little bit outdated. Obviously, he's going to pair well with other big blue hitters that hit all, especially if you've got a defense down. So again, worthwhile hero if you need a big hitter. So I'd put him in the yes category, but I think there are other heroes that are better, depending on your roster, of course. Lastly, but not leastly, we have Fabrus in the 10 hero category. He reminds me of someone from a movie or a TV show, probably Multiple. You know, the one where there's a lot of people in a room doing unspeakable things to each other with weird, freaky masks on. So if that's your thing, then maybe you'll just take him for that reason. Part of the Masked God family, where for the amount of family members, you're getting different minions. So the first one gives it health and attack. Second is giving some attack. And the third is the best one. If you've got 3 family members, you're getting a minion, which gives you immunity to status ailments. So reasonable thing there if you can manage to get 3 of those in the team. When double limit broken, we have the regen ability, Aether Power. So we're getting the 420 health over 6 turns. We have the cleanse on minion death. So the character is cleansed of status ailments when a minion owned by them is destroyed, which is another little bonus. And we are resisting defense ailments, so they have an innate resistance against status ailments that affect defense. So there we have it, some good bonuses there. We have a special skill running at slow speed called Remedies and Diseases. Destroys all fiends from all allies, cleanses status ailments from all allies regenerate 1190 HP over 5 turns, the effect can't be dispelled, and all enemies receive 815 poison damage over 5 turns, which also can't be cleansed. So really quite a powerful hero in my eyes. So destroying those fiends is basically like a huge heal. Being slow, he's obviously going to be extremely useful in Rush War. As I said, the removing fiends, huge heal. He then boosts further with an undispellable regeneration over time, so that's fantastic. He's giving the poison damage, which can't be cleansed. Really strong hero. And if you compare that with a mana generator to some degree, you can speed him up. He may be useful for you in other types of scenarios as well, apart from Rush. But yeah, I mean, I'd see him as a great sort of, if you use a 3-1-1 team or something like that, he can just go by himself because he's giving you the heal. Anything against a Fiend Summoner, he's just basically a humongous heal because he's clearing the Fiend as well. And then he's also giving some poison damage. So I do enjoy healers that damage. So if not for the slow, he would probably be my pick. The skill's fantastic. It's just keeping in mind that slow speed. So if you can speed him up somehow, fantastic. Otherwise, possibly just going to be a Rush War only type of hero. Skipping on to the 15 Soul Exchange category, we have the first hero so far that I've actually got, which is Amethyst, part of the Ninja family, where we're getting the bonus for 1, 2, 3 heroes of a 5, 10, 15% chance to dodge normal attacks and special skills, and the 5, 10, 15% chance to counterattack with 60, 90, or 120% of the damage received. Pretty handy skill. We all know how it works. They get a bit of a dodge, you might get a counterattack. Now, just because one of those processes doesn't mean the other one will. So you can get a dodge without the counter or counter without the dodge, etc. When double limit broken, we have the Fiend Resist. So we're immune to new fiends for 6 turns. Look, not a fantastic skill, can be useful on the rare occasion, but nothing great. I will also just apologise if I accidentally break into song when I'm saying certain words, because I've done the hero reviews recently as musicals. If you haven't checked those out, go have a look at some of my other videos. But when I say certain words like Aether Power, I'm kind of been bopping along to some of those songs in my head. So if I do accidentally start singing, I'm really sorry. And look, you'll probably all just tune straight out. So hopefully that doesn't happen. As a ninja, we have the 3 different charges for the special skill, which I am personally a fan of on offense. As I've mentioned before, not so much on defense as you have no control, but on offense, it just means if you get a great board, you can end up getting to that 2nd or 3rd hit and getting something really good. The thing I like about Amethyst is she does damage all enemies at every charge. So you're getting a very fast hit on the first charge, which will be dealing 200% damage to all enemies. We're summoning a Fiend to all enemies, which does a little bit of attack each turn, and it absorbs healing up to 32%. On the 2nd mana charge, we're dealing 275% to all enemies, summoning the Fiend, which damages with 75%, so a little bit higher, and we're absorbing up to 50% of the target's health. And on the 3rd charge, we're dealing 355 damage to all enemies. The Fiend is doing 84% attack each turn, and we're absorbing 54% of the target's max health. So a very solid hero. I still use mine occasionally. I try to pair with other purples that are charge heroes or very fast. So we've got Sergei as an example, Nyx as a hit-all who does the defense down depending on the charge. So there's a few that you can pair with to get that damage off really quickly if you've got a lack of tiles. I love the fact that you're getting a Fiend at such an early charge for all the enemies. So you're just stuffing up their healing and that type of thing. The Fiends are reasonably strong. You've got a good ninja passive. So if you compare it with other ninjas like Onyx as an example, again, you're getting that very fast hit. So yeah, it's really good. I would definitely put in the yes category. Again, probably not the absolute best one available. Probably the best at 15 heroes. Little bit of debate there, but we'll get into that later. And just to mention, as with all ninjas, she is a little bit squishy. They don't come with a heap of defense. Ferdinand is next from the Mighty Pet family, where for 1, 2, or 3 heroes, we're getting 2, 3, 4% bonus for health, attack, max health absorbed by fiends when summoned, and attack inherited by fiends. So it's a lot to read into, but you're basically just getting a little bit of a boost for minions or fiends. The attack up Aether Power for double limit broken, so we're getting the 20% attack for 6 turns. We have the Fiend of the Familiars passive. When a minion is summoned to any ally, the character gains 5% health and mana. Can activate only once per turn. And Wrath of Pets. So when a Fiend is summoned to any enemy, this character deals 85% damage to all enemies. again, can only activate once. So again, a little bit of bonus there, nothing spectacular, but nice to haves. And the special skill of Bark of Protection, running at average speed, cleanses status ailments from all allies. All allies get 63% defense for 4 turns. All allies share receive damage with each other for 4 turns. All allies reflect status ailments and negative stacks for 4 turns. And all allies regenerate 732 HP over 4 turns. Another solid hero without being too great. I would put him in the yes category, only just really. Look, he's doing a lot of stuff. Obviously would be good for buff booster. He's giving heaps of buffs. So he's got some interesting abilities. For mind, it's just lacking something a little bit. Like, he's not doing anything overly great. He's reflecting the ailments back, sharing received damage, giving a defense boost. It's a very small heal over time, and obviously one single debuff and the whole thing is gone. So I know that can be said for a lot of heroes, but to me it's just lacking a little something. It's just not quite good enough to be a big difference. But again, depending on your roster, it could be an absolute great match for you. So definitely in the yes category, but I would be very hesitant. I would think there'd be better people available. Moving on, in the 15 soul category, we have another Masked God family member, Aradia. So again, those Masked God characters get the minions, depending on whether there's 1, 2, or 3 family members, the best being the third, where you're getting the ailment block, basically, or the immunity to ailments. Aether power for a double limit break is counterattack, so we counterattack him with 60% of the damage received for 6 turns. It's a nice little thing, but 60% is pretty weak, so people aren't scared to hit you with that. But it is what it is. And we're cleansing on minion death, so the character is cleanse of status ailments when a minion owned by them is destroyed. So the fact you're grabbing a minion at the start of the battle is good, because as soon as that's destroyed, if you have anything ailment-wise, it's going to be cleansed. Special skill running at average speed is Wicked Witchcraft. We're reducing the max health of all enemies by 570. The effect is stronger against targets with boosted health. Max health can't go lower than 30% of max health. Any boosted health is reduced by an additional 570. All enemies receive 744 burn damage over 4 turns, and all enemies get 75% decrease of any boosted health received for 4 turns. A solid hero in my opinion, with a few little flaws. So obviously reducing max health is quite good now, and that's quite good if they've got boosted health. The burn damage is a little bit low now. It still does a little bit, but with heroes having sort of 3000 HP, hitting them for 200 to 300 each turn is just not really going to cut the mustard, so to speak. And the negative 75% decrease of any boosted health, that would be absolutely fantastic if that applied to all healing. But only going against boosted health, it means you're trying to take her against boosters rather than any healers. So look, again, solid without being great. That family bonus of having a protecting against ailments can be useful. Cut to healing is good, cut to boosting. But, you know, the burn, obviously, if there's no cleansers on the other team and they have a booster, it's going to be a good choice. But the 15 category, I feel, is a little weak overall. Again, with Blossom at number 10, or for 10, the 15's just not quite cutting it for me, but we'll look at the others and see how we're going. So I would say yes to Aradia, but again, wouldn't be one of my highest choices. Up next, we have Camilla, part of the Magic family. So we're getting that bonus for 1, 2, 3 heroes with a 50, 75, or 100% chance to cast plus 5% mana generation stack on a random ally when this hero casts their special skill. So obviously with 3 in the team and you're getting that 100% chance, quite useful to give a little bit of a mana bonus, but you can't control who it goes on, so nothing fantastic, but nice to have. Getting the defense boost for the Aether power when double limit broken, so the 20% defense for 6 turns. Obviously that sort of thing is great when you're using as a tank or something along those lines, but in general, it's neither here nor there really. We're getting the stack on special, so when the character casts their special skill, all enemies get 5% minus 5% mana generation stack. If it's fully charged, they get 2 stacks. So again, that's quite useful. Any sort of negative mana generation is always fantastic, as it just changes the way that the enemy team has to play. We're getting damage on special, so when the character casts their special skill, 50% chance to deal 100% damage to all enemies, and if it's charged, you get 100%. So again, just a nice little extra bit of damage. special skill called Mechanical Augmentations. So running at the magic speed, so where you have 2 different mana charges. I really do like the first one, which is a boost of 400 health. All allies get 40% defense against special skills for 3 turns. The second charge, we're reducing the max health of all enemies by 800. All boosted health is removed. Max health can't go lower than 30% of the original. All enemies get minus 54% defense against special skills for 5 turns. I do like the first charge having a boost, so getting a nice fast boost is always good. Keeping in mind the boost, as it is set at that 400, it will not increase over time as heroes get stronger and stronger, so it doesn't quite have that versatility of keeping up with the meta. We're also giving a bit of defense against special skills, so just good to keep your heroes alive. What I don't overly like about this is the fact that you don't know what you're going to get. I usually love the charge heroes, but when you're getting 2 totally different skills, they're both good, but if you want a healer and you get a heap of blue tiles, then you have no heal. So the reduce of max health is good. It's basically like attacking the enemy. You're removing all of their boosted health, so if they have boosters, it's going to be quite a good sort of reduction. And you're getting minus 54 defense against special skills. So again, you're putting it in a blue stack where you're going to have the follow-up hitters, but you need to get it charged twice for that. So again, a decent hero and in the yes category, but not, in my opinion, one of the stronger heroes. I would take Blossom as an example for 10 as opposed to Camilla. Just doesn't quite have the certainty of what you're getting. Again, that's just my opinion. Other people like that randomness and like having the flexibility, but to me it just means if you need a heal and you've got too many tiles, you're not going to get a heal. So yeah, not my favourite, especially when looking at the card. Basically looks like some sort of love child of Harry Potter and a junkyard mechanic. I don't know what's going on there. The Wicked Witch of the wherever and Harry Potter in one just doesn't do it for me. On to the final hero available at the 15 soul mark. We have Boom and Fang, part of the Goblin family, where each time a hero takes damage from the enemy's special skill, we're removing 50, 75 or 100% boosted health from all enemies for 1, 2 or 3 heroes. So not too bad there. When double limit broken, we have the Aether power of damage reduction. So we're getting minus 10% damage for 6 turns. So again, that's not too bad if you're using this guy as a tank. It just helps him survive a little bit longer. We have a effects on special skill, so a 50% chance to perform the following actions when this character casts a special skill. Deals 90% damage to all enemies, and all enemies get minus 25% accuracy for 3 turns. That skill is quite good. It doesn't sound fantastic, but that blindness can be an absolute pain in the butt. Seems to go off more than 50%, to be honest, especially on defense. As we know, it's always rigged for defense. Special skill running at average speed called Boar Call. We are summoning a white boar mega minion with 65% HP and 250% attack inherited from the caster. When summoned, the mega minion gives its owner the ability to counter attack with 100% of received damage as long as the owner has a mega minion. This effect can't be dispelled. As we all know, the mega minions are amazing. This is probably one of the least impressive mega minions in the game. It does have a decent hit and can still be very, very useful, can be very effective. If the enemy has a bad board, the mega minion hits just add up. They're hitting for anywhere between, I don't know, 300 and 600, but they just add up. So if you're making 4 or 5 moves and you're just not getting the matches to cast your specials or get a heal off, they can end up doing a lot of damage before you know it. Obviously having the counter attack as well means if you are trying to get rid of it, you're also damaging yourself. So again, I would put Boom and Fang in the yes category, but wouldn't be one of my main picks. Again, the 15 category, to me, just lacks a little bit something, and Boom and Fang's the same. Just lacks a little bit of overall usefulness. The Mega Minion can be very dangerous, very, very good on a slow board. The passives are good, but to me, it just lacks a little something. But again, if you're after a Mega Minion, this could be a no-brainer. But to me, there's better heroes available at 10 and even 20. In the 15 range, again, I don't think there's a clear winner. That would depend on your own roster, but take what you need. First off, in the top tier of 20, we have Luna, part of the Mighty Pet family. Again, the really long description of the family bonus. For 1, 2, 3 heroes, we're getting a 2, 3, 4% additional health on an attack on minions, and some bonuses there for the fiends. When summoned to this character, they don't take as much health or attack as much. Aether power of ailment immunity. So for double limit broken at the start of each battle, the hero is immune to new status ailments for 6 turns. That's quite handy. We have the ability Fiend of the Familiars. When a minion is summoned to an ally, this character gains 5% health and 5% mana. That's obviously always good, anything that's giving you health or mana. And Wrath of Pets. When a Fiend is summoned to any enemy, the character deals 85% damage to all enemies. So again, just a little bit of extra damage. If you're putting together teams that have minions and Fiends, it's just going to help out. Could be the first fast hero I've seen, I think, just off the top of my head. I think they've all been average or magic / ninjas. So we are running at fast speed with Lunar Blessing. We're recovering 20% health for the caster and nearby allies. At the end of each turn, caster and nearby allies shoot a moonbeam at random enemy for 3 turns. Each moonbeam deals 140% damage, and the moonbeam reduces the mana of the hit enemy by 5%. So a very moderate heal. The fact that it's a percentage heal still means it's going to grow over time with stronger heroes, but being the fact that it's only for caster and nearby, for me, I don't quite understand why Luna was at the 20 mark. A very good hero, but not for 20 other heroes. Definitely outdated a little bit now. Was quite good when she first came out, and we know it's an annoying skill. It works the same as Mina. Mina obviously has those bigger hits, the follow-up hits. So with Luna, we have quite a small heal. We have the mana reduction, which is great. Can be easily countered with a buff blocker, but again, that can be said for a lot of other heroes. Very annoying skill, bit outdated. The follow-up hits just don't really impact. And those follow-up hits now can be blocked by the Toons and Mana Shield and those sort of things. So again, relevant, maybe a hero. It's really useful. I really love using Mina on offense, so similar type of hero with that skill of taking the mana off. In the yes category, but for 20 souls, I think there are definitely a lot better heroes. So especially if if you're trying to scrape up 20 heroes to do a transfer, I personally wouldn't go Luna, but again, depending on what you want to play with and your current roster, do whatever the hell you want. Moving on to the stock standard knight in any sort of movies or TV shows where you see sort of knight type warrior characters. I'm sure under that headpiece there's a very, very sensible short back and sides haircut. We have Erlang Shen, member of the Journey family. So those heroes are getting a bonus of 50, 75 or 100% chance to increase the duration of each status effect that is cast by the hero for 1, 2 or 3 turns. So that's for 1, 2 or 3 heroes. They're getting the 50, 75 or 100% chance to do that. And as we know, also fantastic in the War of the Three Kingdoms, a weird event that they've released and done absolutely nothing with, but that's neither here nor there. If you have Erlang Shen, you will get a bonus in the War of Three Kingdoms. Double limit broken, we have the attack up Aether power, which is a 20% attack for 6 turns. Always good on an attacking hero. Hopefully you can get him charged within 6 turns. The special skill is running at fast speed, which helps you get it up and running within those 6 turns. We're dealing 500% damage to the target and minor damage to nearby enemies. The target and nearby enemies get minus 48% attack for 3 turns. If the effect is removed before the duration ends, the target with the effect suffers 502 damage. So quite a nice hit there at 500%, running at fast speed, a little bit of damage to the nearby, giving the minus 48% attack. But obviously the big part of this special is the fact that if it's removed before it ends, so with a cleanse or one of the few sort of dance type things that now activate it after the nerf, you're getting that bonus damage. So Erlang is a definite yes, but keep in mind, so if you're just wanting, a member of a yellow kill team, he's fast, he's hitting 3, he's got the fighter class, so he's got revive, which is useful. He's going to be good if you're hitting with someone with defense down to start with. He's putting the attack down on. But again, if you can pair him with someone like a Christine Day, that's a definite yes. If you have that combination, fantastic. You're going to be doing huge damage by putting on the attack down with Erlang and then removing it with Christine's dance type effect. So definite yes if you have Christine. Obviously great for cleanse wars. So again, if you're lacking something in that area, could be an option. So definite yes with Christine, and just a yes, depending on your roster, etc., without. I'm usually a bit of a sucker for a redhead, but this guy just looks a little bit lame with the uniform and his little Bondi type thing, whatever. The little shoulder pad type just doesn't do it for me. Anyway, we are talking about Ignacio, member of the Super Elemental family. As mentioned earlier, we are doing those little power gems on the tiles, which are quite useful. They're pretty annoying. They just give 20 damage to a random enemy each turn, and obviously depending on how many heroes you've got of the Super Elemental family, more tiles will turn over, and when they're matched they deal 10 damage to all enemies. We have the defense up Aether Power for double limit break, where the hero gets 20% defense for 6 turns, again always handy. We have the strong damage modifier for the troops, so on an attacking character the character's troops deal 100% more damage against weaker element, and on defense the character receives 10% less additional damage from troops of the stronger element. Our special skill is called Purifying Flame. We're recovering at 25% health for all allies, an additional 3% health for each fire shield on the board up to 55%. All allies get plus 50% attack for 4 turns, and we're cleansing status ailments from all allies. So that heal, again being percentage based, means it's going to stay relevant for longer than a sort of a set amount. It is a little bit tricky with the smaller heal without the red shields, but look, you're generally going to maybe have at least 3 red shields, so you're looking at 34%. That's a pretty good heal, and up to 55%. So the 25% is just enough, I think, to make this character really good, because your minimum of 25%, you're also giving the attack boost, and you're cleansing your status ailments. So it's a really good overall healer, and I think the percentages are just about right. The fact that you can get a huge heal, but the 25% is just enough to make it worthwhile. So yeah, very solid healer, doing all the things that a healer should be doing, also giving you that plus 50% attack, which is quite good. Can also be used on Titans because of that, but a fast healer is always good, so definitely in the yes category, and possibly one of the better, in my opinion, in the top tier. Again, there's not a clear standout, I don't believe. It really comes down to your roster. But anyone looking for a good healer, I think we're always looking for good healers. Ignacio could be the one for you. And the winner for the stupidest name, I'm just going to call it Oni. I'll say it once just to be stupid. Oni Wakamaroo. I'll say it in the worst possible way, but we have a member of the Ninja family, so a bonus for 1, 2, 3 heroes of a 5, 10, 15% chance to dodge normal attacks and special skills, or to counterattack with 60, 90 or 120% of the damage received. Those effects have individual sequencing, so they can work independent of each other. You can get one without the other. With the double limit break, we have the Aether Power of the Heal increase. So at the start of the battle, this hero gets plus 50% increase for any healing received for 6 turns. Quite decent, but you're generally not getting a heal in those 6 turns, and he may not need it. It is what it is. The special skill running, obviously, with the Ninja charges, we have far too much text to go through. So on the first charge, we're boosting health of the caster by 390. We are getting Taunt that prevents enemies from using special skills for 2 turns. For using special skills on the caster's allies for 2 turns. That can't be dispelled. The caster counterattacks with 50% of the damage for 2 turns. On the second mana charge, we're boosting the health of the caster for 490. We're getting the Taunt that prevents enemies using special skills on the caster's allies for 3 turns, which also can't be dispelled, and we counterattacking with 105% of the damage received. And on the third charge, we're boosting the health of the caster by 540. We are getting Taunt for 4 turns, which can't be dispelled, and we are counterattacking with 133% of the damage for 4 turns. Again, a solid hero without being fantastic. Possibly not something I would put in the 20 hero category. We're only giving a boost to himself. The Taunt is obviously fantastic. If you don't have a Taunter or you need a good Taunter, I would say it's a possibility. It's unfortunate it doesn't have the auto taunt as the Aether Power, but the fact he's not giving himself any sort of additional defense or mechanism to stay alive, I think in the game today, even with the taunt, he's going to die quite quickly, even though he's giving himself a little bit of boosted health and the counterattack. If he's only getting to that first charge, the counterattack is basically pointless. The taunt's only for 2 turns, so it can be outlasted pretty quickly. So again, just lacking slightly, but if you do not have a taunter, it could definitely be an option. Still very good heroes to use against those team destroyers, such as, a Lemonwood, someone like a Bernadette. It can just stop them being so effective by taunting and making the skill only hit them. So again, not one I would recommend, but there is a yes case there for him. So if you need a taunter, definitely consider. And last of them all, we have Frond, who is a member of the Construct family, where the Construct core is charged each time the character receives damage for normal attacks or special skills. In this case, we have a Destructive core. So the Destructive core activates each time the character's special skill is cast. With a fully charged Destructive core, it deals 180% damage to all enemies. It's scaled obviously by how much is in the core, so if you're 50% core, you're going to do 90% to the enemies. I love the core. It's just a nice added bonus, and it's quite a decent bonus as well, so good to keep in mind. Obviously with the Aether power, with the double limit break, we have the regen, so at the start of each battle we're regenerating 420 health over 6 turns. Again, quite decent, but neither here nor there. Our special skill is Fury of the Ancient Forest, running at fast speed, dealing 375% damage to the target and nearby enemies, deals 900 extra damage if the target has boosted health, and all allies' normal attacks and special skills deals plus 85% damage against targets with boosted health for 3 turns. Decent hero, not one I would suggest to take. A very small case for a yes if you struggle against those teams with boosted health. In my opinion, you've got the Construct core, you're doing a decent hit at fast speed, obviously extra against boosted, but I think the secondary bit of this special skill, where all allies' normal attacks and special skills deal 85% damage against, or plus 85% damage against targets with boosted health for 3 turns, is a little bit wasted, because you need to fire this guy off first, in which case you're doing 375% damage to 3 of the enemy. You're possibly going to be taking a lot of their boosted health away, if not all of it. So I just find that extra bit of the skill a little bit mostly wasted. Again, it can be useful, but to me, it's just not quite doing what it needs to do for 20 heroes. So again, can be a case for yes if you need it in your roster, but I wouldn't personally be trading 20 heroes for this guy. I will apologise for a couple of things. Firstly, some of the cards may not match some of the text. Obviously, I don't have all the heroes, so I am relying on cards from other sources, and some of them may not have been updated with any sort of buffs that some of these heroes have received, so I do apologise if there's any inconsistencies. I also apologise for making you listen to me dribble on for so bloody long. I wish I could have just done like a 40-minute song, because everyone prefers to listen to anything but me. Or my cat could have just meowed for 40 minutes straight, which may have been better on your ears as well. Hopefully my experience with these heroes and my explanation of where and how they may be used and what sort of things they may suit has helped you out in your decision. Don't rush in, you've got plenty of time to make that choice. Watch some other video. Well, no, don't watch anyone else's videos, just watch mine. Find as much information as you can, make the best decision for yourself. I don't think there's any absolute failures in here. I think they're all going to provide a little bit of something for you if you need it. Xavier's probably the one I would be darkest on. He just reminds me of someone that's going to take me out to Macca's for a date and end up not even paying or something, he'll buy me a 30-cent ice cream cone and think he's going to get some action. But even he can be useful if you're lacking that yellow hitter in a stack of yellows. So I think Blossom is the absolute best deal at 10 souls if you're needing a healer. If you need to clear more spaces, again, there's some really good options depending on what you have in your roster. I don't think there's any clear standout. It's hard to say this one is better than that one, but they are all going to offer you something. So I think overall it's quite a good soul exchange without having any standouts. I personally will probably take either Luna or Ignazio, just because they're the heroes I don't have and will probably be able to find a use for. Ignazio may not actually get leveled if I get him. Luna similar, but they do have some quite useful skills, with Luna with the mana take or mana reduction, Ignacio with that big heal and all the other stuff that goes along with him. So there you have it. I hope that's proved useful. I hope you pick someone that's really going to help your team out. If you have any questions, dump them in the comments. As always, if you like what I'm doing, give me a like, comment, subscribe, gently caress that subscribe button, give your kitty a scritch for me, and as always, have a good one.